In his dream, Solomon asked for a discerning mind to distinguish right from wrong. You demonstrated great loyalty to your servant, my father David, as he served you faithfully, properly, and sincerely. You have maintained this great loyalty to this day by allowing his son to sit on his throne. Now, O Lord my God, you have made your servant king in my father David's place, even though I am only a young man and am inexperienced. Your servant stands among your chosen people. They are a great nation that is too numerous to count or number. So give your servant a discerning mind so he can make judicial decisions for your people and distinguish right from wrong. Otherwise, no one is able to make judicial decisions for this great nation of yours. In response, God promised Solomon a wise and discerning mind, superior to that of anyone who has preceded or will succeed you, in the dream. But Solomon broke every law God gave the kings of Israel while wide awake. Surely, Solomon's alleged wisdom was grossly overstated. Okay, enough of this self-righteous snit. You notice what just happened. I'm all up in arms because the wise and discerning mind God allegedly gave Solomon was neither wise enough nor discerning enough to protect Solomon from falling afoul of the laws God gave the kings of Israel. I reasoned that God-given discernment at a minimum should have made the king wise enough to follow God's rules for kings. Or God-given discernment can't be discernment given by God. It must have been only a dream. Now faith becomes an act of self-denial, denying my reasoning to accept the difficult proposition that God-given discernment to know right from wrong was not sufficient to keep Solomon, the one given a wise and discerning mind, superior to that of anyone who has preceded or will succeed him, from falling afoul of God's law. And reasoning may be over or understating the case a bit. The premise that God-given discernment at a minimum should have made the king wise enough to follow God's rules for kings seemed obvious, intuitive, even axiomatic to me. I want to review what has happened to me here. First, when I focused only on the passage titled Solomon's Wealth, I understood that Solomon was rich, powerful, and wise. Faith was fairly easy, requiring little of me. When I expanded the context to include Solomon's dream, faith became more demanding. I needed to confront and either ignore or deny the wisdom of scholarly historians. When I expanded the context to include God's law, faith, holding all three of these passages simultaneously in a state of equilibrium I call true, requires me to deny my intuition, my reason, and my wisdom. This is the most difficult demand of all. Is this what God meant by the passage titled Solomon's Wealth? I said I don't believe in God because Solomon was richer than all his contemporaries. Why do I believe? I would like to elevate the tip of my nose a few degrees above the horizon and say that years of Bible study have persuaded me that the Bible is true, and therefore the God revealed in its pages is also true, and my God. But that's not true. The Bible has been a source of inspiration, irritation, and frustration ever since I was old enough to read it. It's not the reason I believe God. It may be what I believe about God. But my reasons for believing are more personal. I remember what my life was like when I believed God was evil, at least devious and misleading. I told him I understood his silly little game and I would beat him at it. I remember what I meant by silly little game. I don't have a clue how I intended to beat him at it. That might have been youthful bravado rather than a seriously considered point of view. Believing in an evil God was more than I could do for the long haul. Eventually, I didn't believe in him at all, or didn't believe that he existed at all. I remember what my life was like as an atheist. I'll use the term atheist from time to time, but don't think I was a happy, relieved, or content atheist. I was pissed off that I'd wasted so much of my life believing in dog spelled backwards. Though I didn't go quite so far in my own thinking, I can certainly appreciate Nietzsche's dilemma revealed in his later writings, Ecce Homo especially. The atheist who absolutely needed God to exist just so he could justify hating him so much. I remember what my life was like as a naive and religious child. I remember what my life was like as a philosophical and legalistic young man fighting his way back from atheism, and I certainly know my life as an older man with a by and large open-ended confidence in the goodness of God. And I'm not going to throw that away because I'm having some difficulty wrapping my mind around a couple of passages in the Bible. I've already acknowledged that I am rarely, if ever, working with something so concrete as God said it. I'm always working with my understanding, my interpretation of what God said. I might even put words in God's mouth sometimes, so when I'm having a rational problem with passages in the Bible, the first place to look for something squeegee is in my understanding, my interpretation, and the words I've put in God's mouth. I've learned to give God and the Bible the benefit of the doubt. It comes at the sacrifice of some certainty and peace of mind, changing my mind periodically what I think I know, but it keeps an old man nimble and light on his feet.